Good morning to all of you, 7th A. Hope you all are fine, children.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ready for the class?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Happy?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
A loud yes I want from all together.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Good,
Yes, ma'am.
that's fine. Okay, so with that happiness, let's begin the class. And I hope with the same happiness, you're going to learn the things that I'll be telling you. Fine. So, children, in the last class, we talked about, we began with the process of reproduction. We talked about reproduction, we talked about its meaning. We also talked about the importance of the process of reproduction. And then we talked about the types of reproduction, the modes in which the reproduction process can occur. And there we learned that there are two modes, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction, isn't it? Where are you all? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So when I was telling you about these two processes of reproduction, I gave you an introduction and I told you that it will be much more clear to you. It will be much, yes, it will be much more clear to you once you learn it with the help of the examples. I told you that I'll be giving you some examples and I'll be telling you that yes, actually this process, this type of process takes place in which only one parent is involved. There are no two parents involved, but only one parent is involved, and this way, they help in multiplying, or you can say in giving rise to more of the same kind of individuals. Yes, children. So now, when we talk about this, we act, and I also told you one more thing that when we talk about asexual reproduction, it occurs in the lower organism. Now again, I told you that by lower organism, I do not mean that I'm talking about the small plants, small animals, small human beings which are short in height. It's not like that. It means that we are talking about the organisms. Organisms means I include all the living organisms, the living things that have simple body organization. That means their body is either made up of one cell or two or three cells. May they be multicellular, but their body organization, the level of organization is not very well developed. As I told you that we are the highest evolved group of animals. Yes. So the same way, if we talk about us, we have a proper system in our body. Different organs we have in our body. These organs, they make the organ system, and that is why we are highly evolved. We know things, we can learn about things, we have mind, we can take decisions, our body is balanced because of the hormones, everything fine. So we are very evolved, we are multicellular organism, and moreover we are highly evolved. But when we talk about the asexual reproduction, that means we are talking about the animals or the plants or the other organisms which are not very well developed in their body. In the formation, they are not developed. And that is why they do not have a proper reproductive system, in fact. And that is why the mode of reproduction which applies on them is asexual reproduction. Am I clear?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. So when we talk about asexual reproduction, we'll be first talking
Yes,
about
ma'am.
the okay, we'll be talking about the binary fission. Okay. Just have a look on the board. I'll be explaining it to you. Binary fission. Now, actually, when we talk about binary fission, I'll just bring it a little closer to you. Now I think it's okay. Yes? So, the word bi, first of all. In science, when we talk about bi, it is bi. If it is added to any word, that means we are talking about two. Quickly make a note of it. Very quickly, take a pencil in your hand and write two. Bi, bi. This word refers to two. As soon as it is done, just quickly say yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the other word says fission. Now, if you remember in the last class, we talked about in the what was there in the previous paragraph, we discussed that male gamete, Female gamete. You remember I showed you actions like this? Male gamete,
Yes, ma'am.
female gamete, and they fuse. Fusion takes place. Now I say fission. It's the opposite. Fission means breaking. Fine. So please make a note of this also. Fission. Where fission is written in bracket, write down breaking. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So
Yes,
now what do
ma'am.
you say? Now I have given you two words. What do you say? Two and breaking. So what does binary fission mean? Spirited trial. Okay, so when a single parent, the body of the parent divides into two, breaks into two, that is what we refer to as binary fission. So in binary fission, the organism that we'll be discussing will be seen that the parent body, it divides into two, and this is what is the first type of asexual reproduction, or first mode in which the asexual reproduction can take place. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Now all of you, please look here very properly on the board. See, when we talk about the reproduction process, I told you that this process takes place only in the living organism. And the living organism are made up of, the body of the living
Cell.
organism is made up of cell. Very good. So we
Cell.
talk
Cell.
about cell. We have already talked about it, but just for revision, so that you understand it well. The cell, it has a membrane. About this is called cell membrane. Fine. Then you have nucleus. This is the nucleus. As I am drawing it, you can do it. And then the liquid, nucleus, which is called the brain of the cell. And then you have this liquid filled in it, and this is the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm. So the cell, the boundary of the cell, that is the cell membrane. Then you have nucleus in the center, a dotted structure that you can see, and the same way, this is the cytoplasm. The liquid that is present, that is the cytoplasm. Any problem till here?
No, ma'am.
No, no, ma'am.
Okay. So do you understand this much? You have to keep in mind.
Yes.
So
Yes,
for a
ma'am.
cell, okay. So for a cell, what all is important? Come on, tell me one by one. What all has to be there for a cell? Come on.
Yes, ma'am.
Cell membrane, yes. Then
Cytoplasm, nucleus.
cytoplasm, good. Then
Nucleus.
Nucleus.
nucleus, very good. So now, okay, now just observe what I'm doing on the board carefully. Yes, see, this is we'll be taking the first example, and that is amoeba. It is a unicellular or a single cell organism, and that is why we are taking it as an example for the asexual reproduction process, considering it under the heading binary fission. So here you have the nucleus, then you have the cytoplasm, you have the nucleus, you have the cytoplasm. Then, in the second phase, what happens next we'll be talking about. Now, children, this nucleus means breaking. Bi means two. Fission means breaking. So, binary fission means breaking into two. So, here we see that first what divides? The nucleus divides. The first division is of the nucleus. So, we can see, we'll be seeing this type of structure. The amoeba doesn't have any regular shape. Its shape keep changing from time to time. So, we see that the nucleus, divides into 2. The nucleus divides into, come on,
Two.
2. In the third step, we see that now what is going to divide? What is going to divide now? Loud, 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 loud. Cytoplasm. Good. So here we see that now, yes, children, just pay attention. Now here the constriction will be formed, and because of this constriction, we will see that somewhat the cytoplasm starts dividing into 2 again along with the nucleus. Now we see the division of the cytoplasm also. So we will be able to observe some this type of structure, a constriction in center, and then here we have the cytoplasm, here we have the cytoplasm, the two ends, in center also a little bit, but more of it accumulates on the two sides, and we also see the nucleus. Fine? So, the parent cell, then we have the division of the nucleus, here we have the division of the cytoplasm also, and in the next step we see that 2 cells are formed. 2 cells are formed. Now just tell me, initially when we started, how many cells were there? We started with how many cells?
1 cell.
1
Yes.
cell.
All of you have answers from everyone. Not only 1 or 2. We started with
1 parent cell.
Parent cell.
and we are ending in
We have 2.
2
2.
cells. 2 different.
Yes. And what did the heading say? Okay. And what did the heading say? What did the heading say? Binary fission. Yes.
Binary fission in
Breaking.
amoeba.
Yes. Breaking into 2. Yes. Now you need to understand something important, and that is that when we talk about asexual reproduction in the lower organisms, we use a term. Please all of you pay attention. Please put your speakers off. This is very important, and this is something which is very obvious. It needn't be told every day. Yes. So children, here we come across an important term, and the term is daughter cells. Now, when we talk about daughters, in general, that means we are talking about girls. We are talking about the father and the or mother and the daughter relationship. But when we're talking in terms of asexual reproduction, and we are talking about the lower organisms, here when we say daughter cell, it doesn't mean that we are talking about the female child, but we are talking about the cells which are formed after the division. So here you see 2 cells are formed. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and these 2 cells, yes, and these 2 cells, children, which are formed, they are the daughter cells. So there are no son cells. You'll never come across that son cells. It is referred automatically. It says that we are talking about the new individuals which are formed after the process of division. Any problem?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so this is the first organism that we've come across when we talked about binary fission. Now again we see binary fission in case of another organism, and this organism is also single cell organism, and this is paramecium. All of you say paramecium.
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 Yes. So now for like you need to keep in mind that when we talk about single cell organism, they should have a cell membrane, they should have cytoplasm, and they should also have a nucleus. Then only the division can take place. So when we are talking about the paramecium, there is a change in the body design, of course. From amoeba, this organism is different. Yes, but the common thing, the main things, they remain the same. Yes, there's a change in the body structure. You will see a different body structure, different body design, but the cell, nucleus, the cytoplasm, and the cell membrane, it is also present here because it is a single cell organism. So we'll be talking about the paramecium now. Fine. Now I'll just tell you how a paramecium looks like so that it is easy for you to understand. Any problem in this? Any problem in this? Shall I rub it?
No, ma'am.
Shall
No,
I
ma'am.
rub it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So next we talk about paramecium. And when we talk about paramecium, you first need to know how does it look like. So I'll just tell you how it looks like. It is somewhat like this. Now, what will be present at first? The cytoplasm and
Nucleus.
the nucleus. And here, now you need to keep in mind that here micronuclei are present. What is nucleus? Nucleus is present in all the cells, and along with that, additional micronuclei are present. Two are there in number. Micro means very small. So you can see two micronuclei, and along with that, you can also see oral groove. So here you find this is the oral groove. This is additional structure in this. Now, oral groove, children. Oral, what do you mean by oral? Have you ever given exams, oral exams in your lower classes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
What is oral?
Yes,
What do you
ma'am.
mean by the word oral? मुंह से. Yes. So oral cavity or the oral groove refers to the place from where it can feed itself. The organism feeds itself. Fine. So again, now you know the body design. Now again, we'll see the same way how the binary fission occurs in paramecium. Now just please take a pencil in your hand, and as I am telling you, just observe the diagram given in the book on page number 136. What do you see in the first case? The parent cell. Yes, and one more thing I just forgot to tell. There are some thread-like structures present. Can you see thread-like structures in the diagram? All over the body, can you see? Yes or no? Yes, these thread-like structure, like in case of paramecium, it has pseudopodia for movement. Yes, here they have cilia, thread-like, small thread-like structures which are cilia, and they help in the movement process. Now, since they are also living, so they need to move from one place to another. So they have cilia for movement. Now, just look into your book. The first case, you see the parent cell, you see the oral groove, then you see the nucleus, then you see the cytoplasm and the micronuclei. Now, micronuclei and oral groove are the different structures which you are seeing in paramecium. Then, in the second case, what does divide? Nucleus along with the micronuclei. You see that they also divide. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Now in the third case, what is going to divide? Come on, quickly tell. What is going to divide in the third case? You see in case of amoeba, after nucleus, what division takes
cytoplasm
place?
and oral
Cytoplasm.
Very good. So here also in the third diagram, you can see that the cytoplasm division is taking place. And you can see a line in the center. That line is indicating that the process of division is taking place. It is dividing into two. And in the last case, finally you see that two paramecia. Paramecia is the plural of the word paramecium. You can see that two paramecia or two daughter cell, two daughter paramecia are formed. Can you see that?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Any
Yes,
confusion?
No, ma'am.
Any confusion? Okay. So happy all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Yes,
For
ma'am.
understanding? Anyone who is not happy? Everybody is happy. Okay. So we have talked about the binary fission in amoeba and in case of paramecium also. Fine, children. And this is how we have come to the end of today's class. In the next class, we'll be discussing about more of the methods in which the asexual reproduction can take place. But for that, for now, we have done this much. Now you need to revise. In case you find any problem, please keep posting your problems on WhatsApp group, not personally. Okay. And till we meet again, take care of yourselves, children. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am.